Part 1. Ken Bruen, the Dramatist. Lemsip and Gring yogurt. That was my daily fare. The Lemsip for a flu I thought I had. Intermittent sniffles were more likely a throwback to the amount of coke I'd done, but I wasn't admitting that. The yogurt, because I'd read it was good for you. At least I think I had. All those live cultures destroying bacteria. Add a spoon of honey, and it's not half bad. Truth was, my stomach was a mess, and the BIOS eased it a bit. For 6 months I'd been clean and sober, though if so brightly is related to sanity, I didn't qualify. Not a drop of alcohol had crossed my lips in that time. I hadn't quit coke from any desire to clean up. My dealer got busted, and I wasn't able to find another source. I felt so bad without the booze. I figured to kick the coke too. You're on a roll. Go for it. The deadly trilogy. Booze, coke, and nicotine. The years I'd wasted with them. I was still smoking. Though, I mean, give me a break. Wasn't I doing pretty damn good? Give or take another block out. Who knew? I'd maybe stop the cigs too. But the weirdest thing, the down in the crazy pool, most amazing thing, I'd begun going to mass. Phew. Figure that. One Sunday, gasping for a drink, sick of my own company, I'd walked into the cathedral. Sonny Malloy was singing, and wow, that was a blast. So I went in again. It had gone to the stage where the priest now nodded, said, "See you next week." I like to sit at the back, watch the sun come creeping through the stained glass windows as the light spread across the ceiling. I felt something close to peace. The church was always crowded, and the priests were on a timeshare. So few vocations that they worked on a rota among the parishes. Drink, of course, seemed to attend every level of my life. As I watched the kaleidoscope of color, I'd remember one of the craftsmen who'd worked on those windows, a Dublin guy named Ray. He died from cirrhosis of the liver. His last days, I'd gone to visit him, and he said, "Jack, I'd rather be dead than a teetotal." Got his wish. Stuart, my drug dealer, had lived by the canal. In appearance, he resembled a banker more than a drug dealer. Of course, his credo was money. We had an odd relationship. He'd explain the latest product, its effect, its side effects, and even the dangers. It seemed to amuse him. How many ex-policemen in their 50s did he supply? I was, in a way, sort of cope for him. I found him always fascinating. He could only have been in his late 20s and was impeccably dressed. The personification of the new Irish youth, displaying all the traits of his bright new age: smart, confident, literate, hip, mercenary. They brought into none of the shit we had been reared to. The 1916 Rising meant as much to them as the GAA. In other words, nothing. I'd been introduced to him by Kathy Bellingham, an ex-punk, ex-junkie from London who'd washed in Galway. She hooked up with my friend Jeff, a bar owner, and they now had a baby, a Down syndrome's child. When I'd been hurting, and hurting bad, I'd learned on our friendship to get the name of a dealer. I'd scored from him many times after. Then he got busted and was doing 6 years in Mountjoy. I was living in Bailey's Hotel, run by a woman in her 80s. I'd recently been given a new room, almost self-contained apartment. The feature I liked most was the skylight, for the glimpse of the sky. Man, I felt the endless longing that entails. If I could ever figure out what it was I'd longed for, I might be happy. Didn't seem to be about to happen anytime soon. A large wardrobe contained my charity shop clothes. Till recently, I'd owned a leather coat, bought in a Camden Lock. It got nicked at Mass. If I see a priest wearing it, I will truly throw my hat in. Lined against the wall were my books. A hodgepodge of crime, poetry, philosophy, and miscellaneous. They gave me some comfort. Some days, they even acted like reassurance. I was rationing my cigarettes 5 a day, and if there's more subtle torture, I don't know. As a further step towards shaky rehabilitation, I'd even changed brands. Was now buying Silk Cut, the shittiest level of tar, the ultimate con by the tobacco companies. These ultra cigs had recently been revealed to be more dangerous than regular lung busters. I knew this, but my chest seemed to appreciate the gesture. Jeff, my friend, had brought me a month's supplies of patches. They sat in a drawer, a mix of recrimination and aspiration, much like the now depleted clergy. When the steward was sentenced, I'd figured that was goodbye. He wasn't the type to do well in prison. They'd eat him alive. The day he was sent down, I was in Nestor's, a tepid coffee before me. I told Jeff about him, laid out the jagged brief history of my dealings with the guy. Jeff, polishing a glass, listened till I was done. Asked, "You're clean now?" "Off the dope, you mean?" "Yeah." "I am." He put the glass beside a line of gleaming others and said, "Then fuck it." I thought that was a little harsh, he said. I thought that was a little harsh. Said, "That's a little harsh." Jeff looked me full in the face, took his time, said, "He was peddling dope. That's the scum of the earth." I kind of liked him. That's you all over. Jack always the odd man out. Is there a defense to this? I didn't have it. Down the bar sat perennial sentry, a mainstay of Irish pubs, leastways the old ones. They prop up the counter, a pint glass before them, always half full, or half empty, depending on your depending on your perspective. They rarely talk, save in pronouncements like, "Well, we'll never get a summer," or "We won't find it till Christmas." And that's it for part 1.